Hi, my name is Andy Barrow and I am one of the AIP Athlete Appearance Liaisons, and this video is going to be all about something called timelining, which is a really important part of building your story when you're making appearances. So if you're watching this, you're probably going to come along to our story building session, whether face-to-face or online, but if you're not doing that, this is still a very valid exercise. So, timelining, what is it? It's basically you collecting together some material that you can then use in appearances. Whenever I speak with athletes or anyone that's going to present, really, they always say the same thing. They say, nothing interesting has ever happened to me. My life is really boring. And then I question them a bit more and find out they've done all this amazing stuff. So this is an opportunity for you to dig deep and pick out some events that have happened through your life that are notable. And make no mistake, we all have those events. So this is a really good way to get those down on paper in a really simple format. So what I want to do here is set you an exercise that you can then go away and do, and then come along to our session, or if you're not coming to the session, you can build on that in subsequent parts of the story building process. So first for this, what you need quite simply is just a piece of A4 paper. And what you're going to do on that is you're going to draw a horizontal and a vertical axis as if you were going to draw a graph. So there you go. Here's one I made earlier in the best possible Blue Peter style. So what we're going to have along that horizontal axis is a timeline going forward. So you can either work that in time terms, in years, or you can work that in your age. I think I did it going along in my age when I did this exercise. Then on the vertical axis, you're going to have an event that happened to you, normally a landmark event, a really notable event. We're going for the big stuff here, and how that affected you emotionally. You can see that I've also drawn a dot and a minus and a plus, no prizes for realising that the dot is your normal, so that is just purely a neutral event, and the plus is a high point and the minus is a low point. So if I was using myself as an example, I always tell people I had a fairly run-of-the-mill upbringing, and I played sport and I enjoyed it, so that's all fairly neutral. Then one day at 17 I had a spinal cord injury, so that's going to be a big negative to begin with, and then gradually as I discovered wheelchair rugby, it took me on a hell of a journey and it turned from a negative into a positive. So notable events for me would have been the Paralympic Games that I attended. They're going to be up there with big positives. But there probably is room in this for a couple of big life events as well. Big positive for me would be meeting my partner, would be getting married. And there will be similar things for you. I do want you to keep this predominantly about your sporting career, if you're an athlete, and I want you to start with some of your earliest memories, you know, what got you into sport in the first place, even if that's not your chosen sport now, and then take that all the way through into your elite career and perhaps a tiny bit into the future. So maybe track things, predict a couple of events that may happen up to and including, say, Tokyo in 2021. So just to recap, timelining is really about populating this piece of paper, this A4 piece of paper, with some notable events in your life. And I'll hold it up again. Remember, we want the time to go along the horizontal axis. We want the event to be graded along the vertical axis, whether it was a negative event, had a negative impact on you, or a positive impact. Once you've filled this in, you should have some really useful material to then bring to our session, and we can start building on that. We can start digging a little bit deeper, but it's really important that you do that. So I'm going to ask you to, if you're attending one of my sessions, make that timeline and get it back to me as soon as possible. So I'm Andy Barrow, and check back to the AIP YouTube channel if you want to see more tips on presenting, whether face-to-face or whether virtually, and I hope to see you soon. Cheers.